Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Southern Iowa. What you guys are here to see is, based on the thumbnail, is a review on a Mahindra ROXOR. Successful Farming sent me and 3 other farmers, Will Brinkley, Ryan Kelly, and Brian Brown, side-by-sides to do a side-by-side comparison on the farm. So this has been my ride for about a month here, and when we do this review, I'll just be right up in front with you guys. I really do like this thing. So I'll have my critiques at the end of the video, but what we're going to start out with here is just kind of a quick look around of what really stands out for me on this machine. And then we'll go put it on the lift in the shop, and you guys will be able to see the underside of it, because that's probably a big difference in between this and other side-by-sides on the market. First thing you're going to notice is that the ROXOR looks a lot like a C5J Willys Jeep. I'm not sure everything on there. I'll try and find an article and link in the description if you guys want to understand that, but basically Mahindra licensed this style to reproduce these style of vehicle. And I bring that up because this thing is a head turner. Everyone that sees it or stops and looks at it, and they instantly think that it is a Jeep, and I have to explain to them that it is not a Jeep, that it is the Mahindra ROXOR. This ROXOR is not the base model. This is the all-weather model. Has a few of the upgrades. I don't know all of them off the top of my head exactly, but I believe that it includes the enclosure, upgraded wheels, and then the light bar on top, and then maybe the heat and the air conditioning that is also on the inside of it. Something else that you'll notice really quickly is that this has leaf springs on it. It has a 5-speed manual transmission with a transfer case, and you have 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and 4 low, and then actually a neutral spot as well. Horsepower motor. So as we get under the hood here, there is a 4-cylinder 2.7 liter diesel. Now I like the diesel motor for 2 aspects. One, well, technically 3 aspects. One, I think the longevity on a diesel motor over a gas side-by-side motor is way better. I have 1 gas lawnmower, and I never seem to have all of my 5-gallon gas jugs filled, but I do always have diesel barrels around. So fuel for this wouldn't be a headache to have around. That's a big positive. Can't go anywhere if you don't have any fuel. The other thing is the torque, which we'll talk about its towing capacity here in a little bit. But under the hood, there's our little itty-bitty turbo for you. Easy access to put oil into it. The hardest thing to get to is actually the oil check. It's kind of back there behind it. But you have master cylinder, your power steering fluid. Everything here seems to be very easy to access. You have your fuel filter with a fuel prime bulb right there for your motor. Here is your air filter, easy to get to. Batteries easy to get to. And if you actually look at this thing, one thing that it does not have, any emissions. Really do like that. The other thing you'll be able to know when the hood closes here, you have a steel hood, a steel side. The actual frame rails are completely steel. The bed of it, also metal. The bed has kind of like a bed liner sprayed into it. The back door is, you guessed it, it is metal. That is awesome. Rear bumper, that is metal. What some of the plastic on here is the enclosure. It does have cloth doors that you can remove, and I have had them off quite a bit. Some of the mornings have gotten a little bit chilly, so I've put the door back on and ran the heater, and I'll tell you what, the heater will heat you out pretty quickly. The front of it, the grill, is plastic. I don't really think is a horrible idea, because if something breaks there, that grill's going to be easier to replace because it is plastic. The front bumper is metal. This cover right here is plastic, but I believe this cover is set up to just come off, and actually I've seen a lot of them that have a winch put right here, a good size winch. I mean, you wouldn't get stuck with this thing. Well, you would get stuck, but you could get unstuck pretty quickly if you had a winch on the front of this. Well, like I said, we're doing this review with Successful Farming. The whole article will come out, and at that point in time when it is out, if this video is out before them, that article linked in the description, and I'll also probably share it on Facebook and Instagram, so if you guys do want to read that to see what Will, Ryan, and Brian have tested. But this is a quick glance at it. I just wanted to get you guys introduced to it. We'll take it to the shop. For your reference, I've probably put like 600 miles on this thing. So, yeah, it's been getting used a lot. All right, head to the lift. Here's the tour underneath the machine. On the front end here, we do have leaf springs. It rides really pretty darn nice, and it is really stable. Right here, you have a Dana 44 style axle on the front and the back. Coming up through here, you have the oil pan, and it also has 144 pounds of torque. Coming up here, you can see the actual drive shaft going to the front end when you have four-wheel drive put in here. Right here is the 5-speed transmission, so an actual gear drive transmission, not any belts or anything like that on it. As we move past the skid plate here that is protecting the actual transfer case to the ROXOR, as you noticed, all of this is very easy to get to and work on, which kind of for the off-roading guys is probably a dream of theirs. And then back behind us here, we have another Dana 44 style rear end. On the back of it, we do have disc or drum brakes. On the front of it, we have disc brakes. And then hanging off the back here, protected by another skid plate, is the fuel cell. It has a payload capacity of a little over 1,500 pounds on the rear, which we'll be testing here in a little bit in the video. And then it also has a towing capacity of 3,500 pounds. Now, one thing that I would say about the towing is that it would be really darn nice is instead of a bolted on hitch, you had a replaceable hitch, because yes, you have a 2-inch ball pintle hitch style receiver on the back. That's nice, probably tugging people out as you're off-roading would be really darn simple, but having a receiver that was a drop pin for on the farm. Quick look at the service underneath. Easy oil, access to the oil drain plug right there. Transmission drain plug is right there and easy to get to, and they've done it right. The oil filter is super simple to get your hands on. And the tires you're riding around on here are 235/70 R16s. Not going to be hard to find those tires. So after looking at the bottom side, we're going to run across the road to the quarry and go see how much this thing weighs with 500 pounds of meat and 3 bars of fuel in it. You can call your loader guy, tell him I think I can get like 10-20 ton of rock in the back of it. Yeah, he might have to stack it by hand though. 3,800 pounds. There's a little bit of meat in here. So, thank you. So I'm guessing it weighs probably 3,200 pounds. Empty, completely. It's time for the payload test, and Andrew called me this morning desperately in need to move his hay from the hay rack to the hay loft, so I figured ROXOR would be the job for that. I completely just made that scenario up myself too. But we're gonna fill the back of the ROXOR with hay. Now we can do like 4. Jake, I expect a stack of hay like twice as high as the cab.
Well, a midget can only get it so far
yeah.
up there.
Yeah, well, you can stand on top of the pile. What'd you do today? You could get more on there, but we don't want to be obsessed, you know, excessive. Since we're loaded, we might as well go see if we can chore cows with it, right? Put it in 4 high. Whoop! Whoops. Too much hay on it.
This is more like reality.
Yeah, it's not as pretty. The roof works really good to put a couple bales on there. Heck, we could have gotten 30 on there if we used the roof. You know that?
Yeah, easily.
Said you wanted to throw 2 off at a time, right?
We're stringing them out good, but I was thinking we'd start out here.
You didn't even know that this automatically dispensed them in between where you got him in and came out.
I didn't.
It's just an automatic dispenser. It's not quite calibrated. It should have dropped a couple back there.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Chore and payload test, check. So today is the towing test for the Mahindra ROXOR. A little bit of an unconventional towing test for the ROXOR here. It's going to be a parade float. Has a 3,500 pound towing capacity. That's kind of at 15 miles an hour. And it's more or less for the ability to brake and control the load. You don't really want to have too much weight, you know, behind you. It's going to shove you type of thing. This here is actually going to be a lot closer to 4,500 pounds all decked out, but there's no tongue weight on this. This is just going to be kind of a dead pull and how it handles pulling around a parade float. We've made it to town with the float. There's going to be a lot of floats in this parade. So this is going to work out really good. I just put it in 4 low, not giving it any gas. Crawls at legitimately 1 mile an hour. Handles the float just fine. Perfect parade float pace. Towing wise, this thing has absolutely no issues. So in case you're wondering if you want to use this as a parade float vehicle, it works real good. Very unconventional towing test, but towing test complete. Didn't see any other side-by-side pulling a float through the parade. So took the ROXOR out to check some beans after a little rain delay here, but I figured that'd be as good a time as any. Do a little tour inside the cab. You have your 5-speed transmission. Then you have your selector for your 2-wheel, 4-wheel, 4-low, neutral, right down there. Kind of transfer case, pretty standard on pickup trucks that you would see. Also continuing in this direction, 2 nice cup holders down there that actually fit stuff. A nice little cubby, actually. A lot of the times when I've been riding around, you know, the GoPros, pliers, things like that, they fit nicely in this cubby. Back here's 2 even bigger cup holders. They will fit your big Yetis, so that's nice. And then an actual parking brake is right here. Looking across the dash, you have windshield wiper fluid, windshield wipers. This turns on your light bar right here. You do have 3 blank spaces to wire in some more stuff. Your ignition, your lights, your horn. 2 air conditioning vents here, 1 below the dash down here. Over here is your hood release. It's all with the bed liner stuff, and like I said, this thing's been going to work. It's got dirty feet in here. Ignition on. Here's your speedometer, the hours, and when you actually start it, it reads the RPMs. You have some warning lights that would illuminate around the bottom side of this. Let me turn the key back on. You have tack down here, and then you also have tack around the top side of it, and then a fuel gauge. You also can manually select through the trips that you have on. Odometer does not give you engine temperature or engine oil pressure reading on here. That's something that I would really want to have in a vehicle. Probably the best sticker in the UTV market. 2 more vents down here. The heat in the air works exceptionally well on this vehicle. It will toast you out and it will cool you off. You have 2 lockable boxes in the seats. The seats are adjustable. The seats are very, very comfortable. I'm 6'2", 6'3". You have plenty of leg room in here. It is very spacious. You have a rear view mirror, and with the doors on, I better move. I got a combine coming. Door mirrors, whatever they call these mirrors. There's a couple of things that I would see teak being nice for in the cab here. Like one of these fold down armrests for the sides of the seats. It would be really nice to have an armrest. The next thing would be actual lighting in the cab. This dial is really nice, and these dials over here are all backlit. That's really nice. The actual light selector and your key is not lit up. Either having this stuff illuminated or a little light above it, that would be a nice thing to have when you're driving around and it's dark outside. The next 2 things come from these doors, and I know that these doors are, you know, kind of a solution to, you know, a problem, because you want them light to be removable and everything like that. First thing is I don't like what the latch is. So the latch is right there. I would like to see that latch be moved over to here. The latch works great. It's just the fact that when you're sitting here, and if you look at me, the door latch is like in my armpit or under my armpit, you know, so you got to kind of do a chicken winging thing to try and get the door, you know, open. It'd be nice if the latch was moved up here near the front. I do like the fact that the way that the doors swing out instead of being like a suicide door, I do like that feature. The doors are very easy to take off. You just have to undo this strap right here, which keeps it from swinging all the way open, and then lift the doors off the hinges. The other thing on the doors that I'm not a big fan of, which again, what else are you gonna do with it? The windows, like, you gotta roll them like that. So when your window's actually down, you got a flapping thing. Another illumination thing. It's sometimes hard to tell what range you're actually in between 4 high and 2. If the knob on the top here illuminated, that'd be nice to say which range you're in, or even just give you an indication on the dial, a little more information there. That's the cab. I wouldn't necessarily call it luxury, but I would call it rugged and comfortable. But that's the interior. I'll send you guys back to when I did my off-road farm test. What we have here is a pile of dirt, and I think everybody on the farm has a pile of dirt, right? Yep. And with a good pile of dirt and an excavator and a skid steer and a ROXOR, why not, you know, make it so you can drive your ROXOR on top of the pile of dirt? Hi, that's what we'll do, because that's really good farm testing. In case, like, say if you had cows, I don't have cows, and you happen to have, like, say a manure pile or something like that you needed to drive up on top of to survey the field, to see where the cows were at, you know, to take the high ground. You might want to drive your ROXOR on top of it. I'm just doing good work here. Thorough testing. No fun had. No fun. I'm gonna take my excavator and make a ramp. Oh, this is gonna be way too easy to make. I really probably should have saw this idea when the dirt pile was twice the size. Oops. That's kind of underwhelming, but that's the dirt that I got to work with, or pile of dirt. I've got a nice, pretty good slope on this side. That feels like you're gonna fall on your face when you're in the skid steer, so. I don't know if it'd go. It's like, I'd be worried. I could try it.
What's the worst thing that could happen?
Roll it over.
Nah, it won't roll.
I can get stuck.
Well, try again. Back up. Oops.
Just might need a little more speed.
Yeah. All right. Try that one more time.
That's pretty impressive. So at the beginning of the video, I said that I would give you guys kind of the rundown on the things that I think could be improved or my snippets about this machine that I've learned over driving it. First thing I will say, it would be going towards the older generation. Be actually getting into the machine. It is a little bit higher up off the ground, and entry is a little bit more of a challenge. You have to kind of get in here and kind of step over and into the floorboards of the machine. A little bit of a lip there. I could see that maybe being a little bit of a challenge for the older generations. Maybe adding a handle or something up here for them would be nice, or just even forming this top cover in this situation to have a little bit more of a hand grip up here for those folks. We talk about the ball in the beginning of the video, and I chatted with the engineers, and they said, you know, well, maybe you could just pull the ball out of there and it would work. Yeah, it did. You guys saw me pull the Pancake Day float around. It solved it. I still think having a changeable receiver in there would be a great solution. Next thing I'm going to say, and actually probably the two next things that I'm going to say, are both probably safety features that I would understand why they do it. This is a very short machine, but its turning radius isn't the best. It turns, but for as short as it is, I would think that you could get it to turn a lot sharper. I don't know if that's something that you could maybe adjust. My idea is that they probably are doing that for safety reasons. That way, you know, it is short, you can't whip it real sharp and then it possibly roll or something along those lines. Maybe like a two-stage steering system where as you're going faster, you can't turn as sharp or something along those lines, but I'd like to see it turn a little bit sharper. The other thing would be is the speed. From the factory right here, it goes 52, 53 miles an hour. So this is not a street legal machine. It is meant for off-road use, but here in rural southern Iowa and a lot more towns, you're now kind of getting to be more street legal with machines like this. And then actually with a machine like this over the UTV that I use and have, I don't use the other UTV because it only goes 23 miles an hour. I'm better driving a tractor to go look at crops. So it's something that I thought was that it's like, if I had a machine like this, how much would I use it? And I've put 700 miles on this machine. So that means a lot when you can actually go around from place to place. But I still think at 52 miles an hour, you get places. There's nothing wrong with that at all, other than if you were to get this where you could put it onto a street or get onto a road that could go 55 miles an hour as a speed limit. Without going 55 miles an hour, that's a safety hazard. I think you should go at least 55 or have a top end of 60. Something that I would critique, again, that's probably something within the regulations or laws or something like that. Final synopsis of the ROXOR, thumbs up. I think if you were to choose something in terms of a UTV, I've never been impressed with other UTVs, the tube frames and everything like that. I just don't think that they're built to last a long time. Maybe I think that there's a lot of planned obsolescence in those, maybe to keep you upgrading throughout time and stuff like that. I feel like this machine right here, just like the models that they based it off of a long time ago, I think this thing's built to stay around. I really do. I don't think there's planned obsolescence in there. I think it's easy to work on. I think there's parts that are going to be available for it. I mean, there's QR codes on the axles that you can scan. It's made out of steel. It's got liner in there. It's heavily built. I think if you're going to try and find something to invest in, to have around for a long time, I think this might be your machine. That's my farmer review of the Mahindra ROXOR. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Thanks to Successful Farming Magazine for considering me as one of your guys to test this thing out. Thanks for the Mahindra for sending it on over. It's a cool little buggy. See you guys.